Hare Krishna, all devotees. Thank you for joining today's session. We'll get started with today's topic. Today's topic is about partiality of Krishna. And we'll try to discuss and understand from the verse 29th verse of 9th chapter how Krishna is partial, how he is impartial, and how he is impartially partial. And what does it all mean? When we'll go there, we'll find out. Uh, so we have one raised hand. So just want to know if anybody wants to speak something, or we can postpone that for later. Okay, so let's get started with today's session. Yeah. So impartially partial Krishna. So Krishna is partial, impartial, or impartially partial. That's the topic for today's discussion. So we are discussing the last few verses of ninth chapter. Ninth chapter has about 34 verses, and it will end with the Manmana Bhava verse. And but before we go there, there are some series of verses which are spoken by Krishna in his own ecstasy, in his own on his own. And he's been discussing a lot of things in the ninth chapter, and of late last he was discussing the demigod worshippers and pure devotees. And once as he's explaining pure devotees, what do they do? Satata kirta yanto mam anantya ananyas chintayan ananyas chintaya anto. These are all the activities that the pure devotees get themselves engaged into. And they, uh, they 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 think of Krishna without deviation, always. Ananyas chintayanto mam, satata kirtayanto mam. These are again, they worship Krishna. They perform sankirtan. They perform hearing and chanting about Krishna without any deviation, without any stoppage. And satata is always they do it. They always keep themselves engaged and engrossed in doing all this. And then while speaking about this, Krishna becomes personal. He starts revealing um, about his feelings about such devotees. Though now, up till now, what we have been seeing is what devotees do for Krishna. Now Krishna starts revealing in this section of Bhagavad Gita what he start doing for those devotees. When devotees do ananyas chintayanto mam, Krishna says, I do something also, because he becomes extremely pleased with those devotees who dedicate themselves to him, who surrenders to him completely, whose only goal of life is to please Krishna, to serve Krishna, to love Krishna. Now Krishna says, now this is not an ordinary achievement. This is a great achievement. And so Krishna calls those people Mahatmas, those who come to him asking for some benedictions. Even if somebody comes to Krishna asking for some material benefit, Krishna says these people are Mahatmas. Because why? Because instead of going somewhere else, in the seventh chapter, Krishna says this: they have come to me asking for their benefits. Even if they are in distress, if they are in need of something, they want something, if they are inquisitive, or if they are jnani, in all conditions, when they choose to come to Krishna, Krishna says these people are like Mahatmas. However, their devotion is not pure. It's not ahetuka bhakti. It's not without motivation. So they still need purification. They still need to go through the process of purification. But still, nevertheless, Krishna says these devotees are wonderful. They are Mahatmas. They are great souls, Mahan Atmas, simply to mean. And these devotees, Krishna says, they will surely come to me because they are on my path. They are on the path of returning back to Krishna. Krishna says these devotees will soon realize that Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So what will happen? Eventually, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after they will have to undertake the process of purification, for which they will have to take multiple births. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. At the end of that, they will soon realize that Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Vasudev, he sab kuch hai, and we just don't have to go to him for asking for our benedictions, asking for our relief from distress, asking for some object of our enjoyment. He is the object of enjoyment. He himself is the ultimate enjoyable goal. And once we get connected with Vasudev, we experience supreme bliss, supreme spiritual happiness, which then once having experienced, we will not want to give up. And then we will make Krishna our goal rather than going to Krishna for asking for some goal. मुझे पास होना है, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है, इसके लिए हम कृष्णा के पास जाने के बदले we will make Krishna our goal, attainment of Krishna our goal. And that is what is that can happen, that will happen for such Mahatmas, for who have started coming to Krishna initially for some benefits, initially for some relief. Now the process of becoming coming to this stage is also not simple. It all starts with last section. We spoke about that, how the Bhagavad Gita gradually elevates a person. Study of Bhagavad Gita gradually elevates a person from being ignorant of or even self owns identity to become a pure devotee of Krishna, where he says Vasudevam Sarvamiti. So that stage, this progression is what we can see if we follow the flow of Bhagavad Gita, the progression of Bhagavad Gita itself. And we saw last session from second chapter onwards how Krishna introduces Arjuna to the concept of soul, which is so essential, because if we see and if we look around people whom we interact with on a daily basis, we will realize that most of them even have no idea about the concept of soul. They must have had heard it, but as when they act in the real life, they just forget it. It just get covered. It just get uh, layered by multiple layers of ignorance, and they act as if they are their bodies. And in India, practically everybody would have heard about this concept of soul, कि हम आत्मा है, हम जीवात्मा है, हम we are spiritual being having material experience. We are not material being have and sometimes have spiritual experience. It's the other way around. We are permanently spiritual beings and we are having a temporary material experience. And this material experience is so engrossing, it's so bewildering that people believe in it completely, that I'm man, I'm woman, I'm a woman, I'm a Indian, I'm a Gujarati, I'm a Maharashtra, I'm a Marathi, I'm a Punjabi, I'm a South Indian. And now we all these designations come to us because of our body, and we believe in those so deeply, so much so that we forget our real identity also. It's like going to watch a movie and forgetting who we are actually before we enter the movie hall, and then experiencing all the emotions that this movie is showing us. This movie lasts for the normal movie in the theater lasts for 3 hours, but current movie may last for 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, depending on our lifespan. But during this lifespan, we are assuming the character that we are identifying ourselves with on the screen. And whatever the character go through, we are also experiencing those good and bad and ugly moments. And then we are sometimes becoming happy, sometimes becoming sad. Now, this is the effect that this bodily conception of life has had on us, that we've completely forgotten our spiritual identity. So Krishna revives that at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita and explains to Arjuna that how his real nature is spiritual. And he has acquired this material body, and so is the case with everybody else on the battlefield, that everyone has acquired a material body and all of them have our spiritual spark. Not only spiritual spark, Krishna relate them with himself. They are not random spiritual sparks, they are all part and parcel of me. They have all originated from me, and all of them should actually return to me. That's their destiny. That's what they all should be endeavoring to do while having taken this material body. However, they this doesn't get introduced immediately, but in a progressive way through the introduction to the concept of soul, through the introduction to the concept of karma. Because having acquired body, you must act. What will you do? Or will decide what fruits you get, because they made a law. That's a law of karma. Because if you have to function in this world, to enjoy or to suffer, um, both require some action. Plus bodily maintenance requires some action. Sharira yatra संभव तभी है जब हम कुछ करें. Otherwise, it is impossible even for us to live for the duration of life that we are given. So we are forced to act. A soul is forced to act the moment he is given body. The moment we come out of our body, body of womb of our mother in this world, we are forced to act. The soul is trained to cry, and then he's trained to suck milk from a mother's breast. And then as he progresses, he's taught other things based on the time, place, circumstances where he has taken birth. He has not chosen his family. That's all been allotted to him by his past karma. But according to the family and according to the environment that he get adjusted to the reality of the world. And he picks up and he start acting right away. And each of his actions will produce consequences, will produce a fruit in the future. And that is the reason for his bondage. Those fruits give make the soul bind to the world. Because the fruits, when they accrue, you must be present here to take benefit or suffer for those fruits. So those fruits will not leave you even if you will forget those fruits. The law of gravity doesn't forget us. Even if we may forget law of gravity and try and jump from the 10th floor of the building, similarly the fruits will catch you, whichever species you might be in, whichever body you must have acquired, be male and female, or be insect and bird, animal, whatever way, wherever you might be, these fruits will catch up with you. And there is a super soul inside us who is keeping track of all these activities. So no bad action go unnoticed, and no good action also go unnoticed. And good and bad produce the good and bad reactions, and then which we keeps accumulating over millions of lifetime, and which we are supposed to suffer or enjoy over next million of lifetime. And that's where Krishna says the gahana karmano gati. तो ये कैसे चलेगा? What is the way out? Is this destined? Is this the only destiny that we are all supposed to? We probably, whenever must have had started, from then till now we've been suffering and we've been enjoying, and from now onwards also, is this same thing going to continue, or is there a exit door somewhere available which we are not aware of? Now Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita to show us that exit door, to show us from where you can end the cycle of birth and death, and to show us that door using which we can go out of this cycle of birth and death. And that's the knowledge that is provided by the scriptures. The scriptures we have seen, the Vedas, because the soul originally had a desire to enjoy, all the Vedas tell you how to do that in a legalized way, and legalized dharmic way. But that is not the end. Vedas also lead you to moksha. Vedas also talk about moksha. Veda also teaches that though this facility is available, one should not get caught up in enjoying and suffering only. One should also inquire how to end the cycle of birth and death, and how to go out of this cycle also. Now that knowledge is also available in the Vedas. So Krishna is hidden in Vedas, because this is not prominently people wanted Vedas for. People wanted Vedas so that how they can improve the quality of their enjoyment, how they can have a superior quality enjoyment, how can they have swargiya enjoyments, like heavenly enjoyments. So that was the objective. So the Vedas primarily talks about that, but Vedas also have information about how to end the cycle of birth and death, which if anyone interested can find out. But that was not sufficiently available. So Vyasdev, with by taking mercy, has written Bhagavatam and has also captured Bhagavad Gita, which predominantly talks about this aspect. That in Krishna does not encourage in any way the demigod worship or even the following of the Vedic rituals. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. In very second chapter itself, Krishna he quickly asked Arjuna to transcend, go beyond the Vedas. He said, don't get entangled in Vedas. You will never be able to come out, understand them properly, and also come to proper conclusion of the Vedas. The conclusion of Veda is Gita Upanishad. It is a Upanishad which concludes that all the teachings of the Vedas and take the essence out and present that essence to you in form of principles of bhakti, which the Bhagavad Gita will be in which Krishna will recommend to Arjuna. Now, these principles of bhakti is what is the conclusion of all the Vedas. So, if you start from the beginning, you will never come to this conclusion, because the Vedas are bewildering. Vedas are at times misleading, and one may simply get caught up and lost in those Vedas. So take the conclusion of Vedas as it is presented in Bhagavad Gita. The same conclusion is practiced by superior devotees, pure devotees of Krishna, and that narration is available in the Bhagavatam. So, as a combination of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, provide us with enough potent material for us to conclude what is the perfection of life and what should we do, how should we utilize our current birth, for what purpose, and how it was attained by others and how we can attain that. That's what Krishna introduces about his birth and his activities, which is Bhagavatam, about all the incarnations of Lord and all the activities performed by Lord with his devotees are described in Bhagavatam. The principle is spoken in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yome Veti Tattvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti. So Arjuna. Now the principle is spoken. The details are available in Bhagavatam. The details are not mentioned here. Gahana Karmanagati is a principle. In principle, nobody should try and search for the root cause of the suffering or the enjoyment which they are getting, because it is gahan. It is not impossible for us to, it is not fully impossible, but it is gahan, because at our level, at our understanding, by level of our understanding, by see, super soul, Krishna has to appear in our heart as a super soul in order to keep track of all this. So it is that difficult, and so Krishna personally has to do it. So imagine, how can we, with our limited knowledge and brain and senses, how can we ever be able to figure it out? That current enjoyments I'm getting are due to which good karma I did, and current sufferings that we are all getting is due to which bad karma that we did it in which birth. So unless Krishna reveals it to us, we'll never be able to figure out. So objective is not to get disheartened by knowing that कर्मा की गति बहुत गहन है, हमें समझ नहीं सकती. ये टॉपिक डिसहार्टन होने का नहीं है. What we need to learn from this principle is gahana karma gati is not the gahan karna. We are not able to break the puzzle. The learning from here is our actions have consequences, and hence we should be careful about our actions. Which you are not been able to identify the root cause, that's one part of it. But what you need to learn in this process is that those have already been, these consequences that we are experiencing are due to the actions that we have performed. So the learning we should take is all our actions have consequences, and we are responsible for our actions. So whatever we do today, we choose to ignore bhakti today, we are responsible for our actions. We choose to perform bhakti today, we are responsible for those actions also. Whichever choices we make have consequences, and we are owning those consequences. So this is the learning from the Gahana Karmanagati. What is the way out then? We need to learn about Krishna. We don't have any attraction for Krishna. We have desires to fulfill of having superior quality life, and we have doubts whether Krishna exists. How should we, what is then the way out for us? Then our way out comes from the spiritual master or a devotee teacher who can guide a new devotee carefully, uh, and give him devotional service, give him Krishna, give him Harinam, tell him how to chant, why to chant, when to chant, and how much to chant, and clear his doubts, and so that he can see Krishna. He can develop a desire to make a progress towards Krishna, and that's how a spiritual life gets started for any devotee, any bhakta. And Krishna concludes the sixth chapter by saying that yogin nam api sarvesham मदगतेन अंतरात्मना श्रद्धावान भजते योमाम समय युक्तो तो ममतः। श्रद्धावान भजते योमाम, जो मेरा भजन श्रद्धा से करता है, समय युक्तो तो ममतः, माय ओपिनियन इज ही इज द बेस्ट ऑफ द योगीज। बेस्ट ऑफ विच योगीज? बेस्ट ऑफ ध्यान योगीज, जो हिमालय में जाके बरसों भूखे रह के दे कैन मेडिटेट ऑन द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड विद इन द हार्ट। Such a devotee is superior even to those sadhus or those babas who probably are living life of austerity. You will see them, sitting in a meditating pose, even in the Himalayas, even in the extreme cold condition. One may simply wonder, how are they living? How are they surviving? And that could be, due to the siddhis that they might have had acquired. But Krishna says that a bhakta who's श्रद्धा से भजन कर रहा है, श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम, जो कृष्ण को भजन कर रहा है, जो कृष्ण को सर्व कर रहा है, कृष्ण के लिए डिवोशनल सर्विस परफॉर्म कर रहा है, जो कृष्ण लीला सुन रहा है, जो कृष्ण का हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र चैंट कर रहा है, कृष्ण says that person is even superior to this fellow. Now how is it possible? We can't understand. We could be a ordinary person. हम एक बार हफ्ते में एक बार मंदिर जाते हैं, हफ्ते में एक बार 2-3 दिन वीक के कोई फोन करता है, एसएमएस करता है तो चैंटिंग ज्वाइन करते हैं, जपा ज्वाइन करते हैं, थोड़े से राउंड्स करते हैं, कभी नहीं करते हैं, कभी भूल जाते हैं, कोई बुला लेता है तो हम we come for classes also. Sometimes we come for mandir to go and have prasad. We might be more interested in prasad than taking darshan of the Lord. We might not even remember which color dress Lord was wearing after stepping out of our temple, but we may remember whatever we have had in the temple. हमने पानी पूरी खाई थी, फिर चाट खाया था, फिर ये खाया था, फिर आइसक्रीम भी ली थी, पेस्ट्री भी खाई थी. Now we may just remember these, but these are good, these are Krishna prasad, but we have no natural spontaneous attraction and love for Krishna. So we need devotees to guide us, who have that love themselves. They can give us, and that's why that's what we should. That's why the role of devotees becomes so crucial. They themselves have love for Krishna, and whatever they have, only they can give to us. If I have 100 rupees, I can give something to someone else. If I have nothing, I cannot give anybody anything. Simple as that. So these devotees, the spiritual masters, they are the possessors of Krishna. They possess Krishna. They carry Krishna with them. They have experience of Krishna, and they have experienced spiritual bliss, and they have able to connect that bliss with Krishna. Because of Krishna's mercy, they get that bliss by seeing when pujaris, year after year, there are pujaris for 30 years, 40 years. They develop a relationship with Krishna, with the deity. They every day get up in the morning and they serve the deities as if a mother would take care of her newborn baby, and they've been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. They devote their life to the deity. How could they do that? They can't just do that for salary, which they probably might be getting, but they do it out of love. They love the deity. And the deity reciprocates with them, and so they experience spiritual bliss. They experience spiritual happiness while available stay in the while stay they are staying in the material world. They get those spiritual bliss and spiritual happiness. Now those devotees who already have some experience, and they understand that this experience of spiritual happiness is not they are not getting it independently. They are getting it because of the deity, because it's a reciprocation of deity with them, and their service, to their service deities are liking it, or deities sometimes may not like it. Sometimes kheer might be too hot, sometimes prasad could be cold, and deities will reciprocate with pujaris. We will not understand this, but pujaris know it and deities know it, and that's the loving bond that they have. But such pujari can teach others how to worship Krishna, how to worship Krishna. So he can train a new batch of pujaris, and eventually, if they take up seriously, since follow sincerely, this new batch of pujaris can also start getting receiving similar reciprocation with the deities. That's possible. This pujari, senior pujaris can give because they already possess it. That's the role of a senior devotee, of a Krishna, of a spiritual master or a devotee teacher in any form. So having taken it, having seen it, having understood it logically, by keeping some faith, by once come to a platform of starting to do what has been told to do, like hearing and chanting in simple way, one must take it up. Now it's up to the individual soul whether to how to take it up to the next level, as they say in the management principles, that take it to the next level, because you all get started and then you get lost. It's like in January has just gone by. All of many gymnasiums, they see a lot of enrollment at the beginning of the year, because they know a lot of people make resolution of going to gym every day. That's a favorite New Year resolution which people love to take and love to break by March or April. But so all the gyms come out with many offers and attract a lot of crowds in the month of January and February, and from March it all start dwindling, and April and May, it just goes down. Rain, hardly anybody is seen in the gym, and then it may. So that's the usual annual story. So it's up to us, having got some glimpses of Krishna, having got some glimpses of knowledge about Krishna, some glimpses of benefits that we can get out of practicing Krishna consciousness. It's up to us to make it big, to make it count, to make this opportunity, take this opportunity with both our hands, and make progress, be determined to make progress towards Krishna. So the devotees do that. Once they get proper guidance, devotees love to do that, and they make Krishna their goal. When Krishna become your goal, what happens? Then then with that they try to learn more about Krishna, and they learn from Bhagavad Gita. They've discussed these verses many times, that 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 Krishna has his own abode. We have to go there. We have come from the same place, and we need to return to that place. Now the way the exit door is becomes accessible to us at the time of death. Now death is a moment when this exit door has a potentially open up for us, and we can enter there. How? Krishna says, if you remember him at the time of death, then this door is accessible to us. And to remember Krishna at the time of death, we must remember Krishna during our lifetime, when we are taking care of our children, when we are performing our duties, when we are taking care of our family, when we are old and we are retired, and we are, instead of watching TV, we are doing japa, we are improving our hearing, we are reading from Bhagavatam, we are listening to Bhagavatam, and we are doing all this instead of watching TV, instead of watching TV serials, instead of watching sports, instead of watching music videos, instead of watching web series, instead of watching news channels, getting latest count of how many bombs were thrown on Ukraine. Instead of doing all this, if we submerge, if we use this opportunity, this time that we are awake and conscious, and we have enough energy to do things, if we invest this time in Krishna remembrance, cultivating remembrance of Krishna, then it is easy for us to remember Krishna at the end, which Krishna says that if you do this without deviation, then you will not even have a desire to return back to this world, which is labeled as dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So this is how a devotee is progressing, and then if you don't want to return to this world, where do you want to go? You want to go to Krishna's world, Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, the spiritual abode of Krishna, where Krishna is eternally present and eternally performing pastimes. And it's not that we go there as a visitor, we have a role to play. Each jiva has a role to play there, and we will discover our own role eventually. However, the developing a desire to go there is the first step to in actually going there. If I had to wish, desire to go to Mayapur or Vrindavan is my first step that I will need to take in order for to actually reach there eventually. Because once I will have a desire, I will develop plans. I will find out what is there in Mayapur, what is there in Vrindavan, and why should I go there. I'll get a reason to go there. I'll find out how to go there. I will talk to people who have already been there, and then I will eventually do the necessary things which will take me there. All this while we are while it's not that the direct experiences that we spoke about, that the spiritual master has, that the pure devotees have, or that even the practicing devotees, the senior devotees, they experience. Now this is not their personal property. Now this is available to everyone. Everyone who practice sincerely will have direct experiences coming from Krishna. Krishna will reciprocate with them in one way or other, and Krishna will give them intelligence to link those experiences with him. It's not random experiences that people were getting. So and all of us who are chanting for last 1 year, last 2 years, who join Krishna consciousness, who join us our hearing online hearing sessions during pandemic in 2020, April or May or June of 2020, and then they continued. Now all of them, whenever they were doing Krishna consciousness seriously, sincerely, they were hearing, sincerely, they were chanting, they were experiencing some spiritual joy. Otherwise, in this world, where everything is so temporary, the job turnover ratio today is more than 20%. So people don't. Why will people anyone stick around for 2 years also? Assuming you have no background of Krishna consciousness, but why will you ever stick around to this process, which if it has not given you enough benefit? However, at times we fail to link what benefits we get with Krishna. Sometimes we thought we probably have got it by our own hard work or our own endeavor or our own effort. Because you did something 1 2 3, this is the experience that you have got. You fail to sometimes link it with Krishna, but that's the mistake. But because at times Krishna reciprocates with us, and that has given us conviction to even stuck around for 2 years also. Now it's up to us. We can take it to the next level, and so that our we get those experiences become repeated, and our faith, which is a small faith, can become nishtha or conviction, which is deeply rooted faith. At this stage, devotees starts loving Krishna. We don't do things, we don't get up in the morning because somebody has sent us a message in the night, 10:30 or 11 o'clock or 9:30, that please come for japa tomorrow morning. That is okay. They have their job to do maybe, but why should I come? I come because I love Krishna. I want to do something for Krishna. When we love someone, we want to do something for that person, and this is the least that we can do for Krishna. Does Krishna need it? uh, Krishna says he likes it, and that's why we are doing it. So we want to do things which Krishna likes, and we don't want to do those things which Krishna does not like. And Krishna has categorically stated it in Bhagavad Gita. One of that verse we will see today. And so for devotees, they slowly, progressively make Krishna their life. What is the difference? In normal course, before we came to Krishna consciousness, bhakti or devotion was part of our life. Maybe 1%, 2%, in some cases 5%, maybe 10%. We were spending 10% of our life, but 90% of our life was something else, where we have no connection with Krishna. Now, devotees do it inversely. they will have majority of their life dedicated for Krishna, and some small portion of life where they will have to still work, they will have to still interact with the rest non-devotees, rest of the world, uh, keep track of news. Is there really a war happening between Ukraine and Russia? If you happen to be visiting Russia, then you will need to know. You'll need to know who is the Prime Minister of India, who is the President of United States, who is the President of Russia, who is causing this havoc, or whatever. You need to get some basic information. So small portion of your life will also be dedicated to learning, having keeping track of the material world, but a large portion of your life will be for performing activities that are meant for Krishna, that are directed towards Krishna directly. So this is the inverse proportion. So 90-10 is when we started bhakti. 10 is also on a higher level. 91, 99 1 also could be there, or 98 2 could be there, 95 5 could be there. That bhakti is 5%, non-bhakti life is 98%, 95%. And maximum it could be 10 or 15 or 20%. We want to inverse it. We want 85% to become devotional life, and 15%, 20% balance could be a non-devotional life, where we are forced to interact with the rest of the world and do what is needed for our survival. We may have to work, we may have to uh, do sale, we whatever we are occupation is, we do those things, and but the focus remains devotional. Now this is a transformation that devotees experience in their life when they take up devotion seriously. We have seen this transformation happen in all the devotees that you will see if you visit temple. Now all of them were not born like this. Somebody like Narottam Prabhu was not born like this, but he took those next steps and took those next steps very fast, and then he reciprocated. He committed with Krishna, he sacrificed for Krishna, and Krishna reciprocated with him in wonderful way. And there are so many devotee examples there that we see, where we see 180-degree change in their lifestyles, before and after. If you compare, and lot of devotee story that you hear on YouTube or anywhere. Visit temple, meet devotees, ask them how did they came to Krishna consciousness, and what they were before they come to Krishna consciousness. You will see wonderful stories about transformations that people have witnessed in their life. Now, was all this destined? Maybe no. If you would have taken out a horoscope of all these devotees at the time of birth, they probably would have no such predictions that this person born in a probably a doctor family or engineer's family or whatever normal family, will go on to become a monk, or will go on to become a successful preacher of will open this temple, will be serving Krishna, and will be doing so many preaching activities, and will be all these predictions are impossible to make, because devotion is not in our destiny. The facility for devotion could be, but devotion is a choice that the soul exercises. So all of us need to exercise that choice and practice it wholeheartedly, so that objective for us is not to remain as it is, as we were before we were coming introduced to Krishna consciousness. There should be a willingness to change for better, to change. When you join gymnasium, you don't when you are obviously not fit, because that's why you go to gym. And objective is not to remain as it is. Objective is to become healthy. Objective is should be to become fit, and that's what with which we do any action. So devotion is no different. Devotion is not just feel good thing that we can do once a month and be happy about it. Devotion is life itself, and it has potency to transform, provided we desire it. Provided we want ourselves to be transformed, and transformation is for better. We become far superior persons that what we were. And when you speak with the devotees about their past and about their you will find a 180-degree change in their lifestyles, not only in terms of external lifestyle, that they now wear dhoti kurta, maybe have shaven heads and maintain shikha. All that is fine. That's externally, anybody can act like this, but internal changes have happened. They sacrificed so much for Krishna, and Krishna has reciprocated so much with them, because Krishna becomes happy with them. And by pleasing such devotees with whom Krishna is already pleased, imagine the mercy that we can get from Krishna directly. That's the secret of growing in the devotional life. This loving relationship. We'll talk about all this section, the all the verses, the 26th verse, Patram Pushpam Phulam Tayam, the Sammohan Sarvabhuteshu, that we will discuss today. All these verses are spoken out of love. This is not a general information that is available. It's not a charity that is available, that anybody comes here can get this. It is done out of love. It is a special. It is somebody, when father is giving his property to his son, he's not doing charity. It's not that any boy walking from the street can go and claim it. Now this is intimate. This is given out of love that father experienced for his son. And so these verses are spoken out of love, that Krishna is speaking out of love for his devotee, to Arjuna. And he is referring to, or speaking to Arjuna, but he's referring to a broader devotee community. He says that now Arjuna has never given him Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. The Draupadi did give him a leaf in the Durvasa Muni pastime when they visited them in the forest. But in general, whenever they've had lunches, they've not had lunches of Patram Pushpam Phalam. Because they were a royalty, they would have had proper lunches. And but Krishna is speaking that how devotional service is so easy. Patram Pushpam Phulam Toyam, you give me this, I'm become happy. What more you want? How much lower an expectation can be from a beloved? When people are in love, they demand moon. Mujhe ye chahiye, wo chahiye, and people, the other person who are in love, they try to satisfy those. But Krishna is setting his expectations so low that nobody can say no to it. It's so easy, makes it so easy for devotees to follow. So the entire conversation from this till the end of 9th chapter is done out of is a conversation between two persons who are in love with each other, who loves each other, who have very, very strong affection for each other. Now, for this to happen, so for this to happen, the personalities, there should be two personalities. Love cannot be one way. So unless you assume Krishna to be a person, unless you assume God to be a person, it is not possible for us to love him. If we feel God as a statue, as a stone, as a uh, as a impersonal manifestation of power, extremely powerful, but he has no form, has no shape, has no emotions, has no gunas, has no feelings, then it's such God, you can be respectful, but you cannot love him. You cannot love him, because love requires reciprocation, and reciprocation can come from a person. So it is at most essential that we get proper understanding of the concept of God, that Krishna is God and Krishna is a person, and he is personal. He is if you hate him, he will ignore you. If you don't want Krishna's interference in your life, he will give you that freedom, and he will not interfere in your life. But if you devote yourself to him, he will take care of you. He is reciprocal. He is not partial, impartial. He is reciprocal. We will talk about that a little bit later. So Krishna, like us, we have likes, dislikes, preferences. Krishna also has likes, dislikes, and his own preferences. Krishna tell us that he prefer Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He doesn't. Prabhupada writes in the purport that he doesn't write meat, eggs, and fish and animals. I don't want to eat that. So Krishna gives his preference. Krishna likes certain things in done certain way, and he expresses it, he says it, he likes it, he loves it. And that, because that is possible because Krishna is a person. We are not born out of unmanifested manifestation of Supreme Lord, the absolute truth. Absolute truth is a person, and that's why we are his child. We are his children, and we also have form, because absolute truth has a form. It's so simple, but it's so sometimes difficult for impersonalists and atheists to understand that how could mercy come from a deity which is made of wood and stone, that nothing can come out of it. From their eyes to their eyes, nothing can come. This stone, nothing can come out of it. The wooden deity of Jagannath, nothing can come out of it. how can that how can that deity do anything to the bhoga that is offered, which makes it prasad? How is it possible? Now they just can't understand. And that's their misfortune. That's so unfortunate they are, that they are missing out on the eating of prasad, because for them prasad makes no sense, because nothing can come out of the deity, because deity is not a person. That's where they fail miserably, and all their endeavors, Krishna says in 9.12, are destroyed, and they just permanently make their place in this material world. They just can't see the door, even if it is wide open, to exit out of this world and to end the cycle of birth and death. They just can't see that. So the person, God is a person, Krishna is a person, and he can reciprocate, and that's why he makes this relationship beautiful. Both the person who are in love and the object of love and the subject of love, both need to feel equal or almost equal footing. If one is too powerful and one is too weak, then that relationship cannot be of at a loving nature. So we need, if too much power asymmetry means mismatch. Too much power mismatch will make a relationship will not cannot the good relationship cannot blossom. So there has to be, uh, so that's where the yoga maya comes in. Yoga maya covers Krishna. Yoga maya covers Krishna, so that Krishna also act in a way that he feel needy. He feel in need of attention. He feel in need of love. He need he feels the need to have to have to have a sport, to have a loving exchange with someone. He feels the need to become hungry, and that's how the pastimes happen. Both need to feel equal. Now, can somebody give example where Krishna has made someone in the Krishna Lila, especially, or in any Lila, any pastime, where devotees felt like they are helping Krishna. Krishna is in need of them.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So it comes in the Govardhan Lila also, Prabhuji, where the friends of Krishna says that let's help Krishna with the sticks because he cannot lift the Govardhan alone means. So let's help him.
Yes,
So
that's true. Govardhan Lila is one pastime where everybody, took their sticks to help Krishna, and then they were feeling that, okay, Krishna, you're not alone lifting the Govardhan, we are helping you because you need help. Similarly, Gopas, sometimes they used to defeat Krishna in games which they used to play. And Krishna, wherever the Baba says that, nicely, that wherever Krishna would go, the flower will blossom. If he try and hide under a fruit tree, the fruit unseasonably will start giving fruits. It will just manifest. Krishna is there. Look, let me give him something, and the fruit will. Even if it is not a mango season, it will produce mango and give it to Krishna. And suddenly, Gopas will find out that's where Krishna must be, and then they search him, and then so Krishna almost all games he loses. And then they get on they used to play the game that whichever side loses, the other side, they have to take the other side on their shoulder, and they have to take a round. And Gopas often used to win, the opposite Gopas from the opposite party, and then they used to climb on Krishna's shoulder, and Krishna used to take them around. And then they used to say, "Oh, you are no hero. See, I'm climbing on your shoulder, so you are just like us." And that's how they used to play. So similarly, Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with ropes. Unless if she were to feel that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of this whole universe. The whole universe is in him, and he is outside the universe. And if she's going to remember all those things while dealing with Krishna, she will not be able to bind Krishna with ropes, but she could easily bind Krishna with the love, by the love of her Vatsalya mood. She could easily bind Krishna when she wanted to, and Nanda Baba could open those ropes very easily. So that's where people feel that Krishna, they are almost equal footing, then even at times superior footing. So that Krishna. So in another principle of love is that the person who is in the both the people who are in love, they need to feel needed or valued in a relationship. So in any relationship, if it has to blossom, if it has to be there should be proper exchange of rasa, there should be proper relationship. Both parties, if one party feel that one person feel that he's not needed, then the intensity will go down eventually. It will become it will just become a one-sided relationship, that the other person doesn't care if I exist or don't exist. Now that kind of a that typically can destroy a relationship. That if one gets a feeling that the I don't I'm not needed by the other person, I'm not valued by the other person, then why I exist in the relationship? What is my use in the relationship? Even if I'm not here, nothing matters. The other person just don't care. If one gets this kind of a feeling, now that weakens a relationship, and it cannot create it is for sustainability. I think it will simply destroy the relationship eventually. Typically old people can have this problem that if they feel neglected, if they feel not valued enough in their homes, because they are not been at times that can happen, and therefore it's of utmost importance that every relationship should be nourished on the basis of need. So Krishna, though he doesn't need anything, he doesn't become hungry. By covered by yoga maya, he cries with hunger. He cries. He shivers with fear when the cloud thunders at night and in the home while sleeping. He's shivering. Nanda Baba then takes him closer, go take him closer, and then he feels warmth and of his body, and then he feels better. But he cry out of hunger, he cry out of he fear out of he shiver out of fear. Now nobody can fear, he's fearless. Krishna, nobody, nothing can scare Krishna, nothing can make Krishna hungry. But covered by yoga maya, Krishna manifests these qualities, and they help they help devotees who are acting in the pastime perform lila. Krishna makes himself available to them. Krishna makes himself accessible to them, and so that they can render service. They can do their part in the lila effectively to them. So Krishna can accept service like this, and Krishna can manifest himself as a deity and give us opportunity to render service to him. Otherwise, how are we ever going to render service to Krishna? So Krishna can manifest, and that's how he makes us feel valuable. He makes us feel needed in the relationship with Krishna. So so when Krishna manifests as a deity, and pujaris worship those deities beautifully, and Krishna reciprocates with them, and that's how devotee can experience that joy and experience that bliss while serving the deity. And taking darshan of the same deity, we can feel the similar bliss. We can get a glimpse of that bliss. We can get a share of that bliss and happiness, because Krishna is actually present there. So if we can reciprocate with pujaris, or the temple pujaris, especially he can also reciprocate. He's there, which means he's there all the time. And if we offer prayers sincerely, if we offer obeisances sincerely, if we bow down with all the awe and reverence, and worship Krishna, he can reciprocate with us because he's there. Now he if we choose to ignore him, he choose to ignore us as well. But if he surrenders to him, he will reciprocate with us. So that's how he makes us felt needed in a relationship, makes ourselves valuable in a relationship. Because Maya Yashoda was such a great devotee. Even Krishna did that for her. So why will he do it for us? Because he want us also to eventually come to that level, come to become. He want us to first become devotees and then become good devotees and then become surrender devotees who are in love with Krishna. And then Krishna can progressively reciprocate more with us as we surrender more. He reciprocates more. So another thing, another pastime you can think of where Krishna is in it. If relationship everything is predictable,